Hi, Bonner here. So this is a bit of a meatier tip. This is the number one obstacle that I find, practical obstacle for new students when they're just getting started. The big thing that we seem to have a lot of trouble with is changing chords quickly and smoothly. How do you change chords quickly and smoothly? Okay? So, how do we change chords quickly and smoothly? Well, I teach a method that I've invented. I think often I've seen chord changes basically just taught where you're shown the chords and then you sort of figure out how to solve the problem of moving around in between the chords to a great extent on your own. And I don't think that's particularly productive. So just a warning up front, this tip is a little bit longer. I'm going to try and keep it under 5 or 6 minutes. So, how do we change chords quickly? Well, the secret to changing chords quickly is that when we're learning chords, learning the chord shapes, learning a G chord or a D chord is not really a big challenge. You see a little chord diagram and it shows where to put your fingers. So what? It's like looking at the foot paintings on the floor of a dance studio and thinking that you're going to somehow learn how to dance by putting your foot on step 1 and then your other foot on step 3. That's not really how it works. All of the dancing has to do with how you move from step 1 to step 3. And this is what we're doing with our hands. Our hands are dancing. So I call this chord choreography. So let's just look at an example, one example of this. And this is an opportunity for me to plug the fact that I do Skype lessons one-on-one. So if you're interested, send me an email. The email address is on the comments underneath my video. So let's look at how we do this. How we do this is we have a picture in our mind or you know a specific location that we know that we're going to, and this is one of the general tips that we're going to see over and over again when we're writing music or figuring out how to solo. We're always working from where we want to end up and then working our way backwards from that. So where I want to end up in this case is on the D chord, and I'm going to be starting from on the G chord. So what I do is I understand how my neurology works. That's the first thing that I do. And how my neurology works is my fingers like to be given simple steps, okay? Simple steps, one step at a time, very explicit steps, okay? And then we follow those steps and we always execute those steps exactly the same way. And then your muscles remember that motion very, very quickly. So I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm on the G chord. When I'm on the G chord, my fingers know where they are, okay? So I want to keep one finger on that chord as long as possible, one finger touching the guitar neck that knows where it is, because it helps me to orient myself. It's just like being in a darkened room. If the power goes out in a room, if you have your hand on the door frame, it's easy to find your way around the room. If you're just standing in the middle of the room and the lights go out, you're going to trip over something. So we're going to use what I call the trailing finger. One finger we're going to leave behind. In this particular case, the finger I'm going to leave in position is going to be my ring finger. All that means is I'm going to move that one last. Okay? I'm going to the D chord, which is over here. So to get to the D chord, I'm going to decide which finger is going to be my leading finger. My leading finger, in this case, is going to be my middle finger. So I'm just going to lift pointer and middle finger, and I'm going to use a folding back motion to put my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the E string. Okay? Then I'm going to put my pointer finger, also on the 2nd fret. Now that my middle finger's on the 2nd fret on the E string, it's very easy for me to orient my pointer finger right above it. It's an easy space to find because we always find it easy to orient one finger relative to one that's in position that we already know. That was the trick to getting our middle finger behind the ring finger, is we left the ring finger down and then we just put the middle finger right behind it. And so it's very easy to do. Then we put the pointer finger right above the middle. Now all we have to do is lift the ring finger up onto the B string, and there we are. Now we're in a completed D shape, and there's our D chord. So we just follow those steps. Now, to lock that in, here's a little memory trick that you can use for anything that you're doing that's physical. Do it backwards. So then, if I reverse the steps, I move my ring finger back onto the E string, I lift off my pointer, I take my middle finger and reach it up onto the low E string, and you'll notice when you move the middle finger, the pointer tends to follow it. I'm going to put the pointer on the second fret of the A string, and now I'm back in the G position. So again, my steps are decide what my trailing finger is. In this case, it's going to be the ring finger. It'll be different for each chord change. Decide what my leading finger is. That's going to be my middle finger. My middle finger is going to be placed right behind my ring, then pointer right above the middle, and then I'm going to move the ring up onto the B string. And then to reverse the steps again, ring goes back onto E, pointer comes off, middle comes up and springs over onto the low E string, and pointer goes behind it on the second fret of the A string. And so what I suggest that you do when you're learning a chord change is break it down into steps like that, and then slowly and explicitly repeat those steps forwards and then backwards. And according to the research that I've read on neurological learning, it only actually takes about 12 repetitions, forwards and backwards, before you will notice a substantial familiarity in any motion. If you always do it the same way, okay, you follow an specific number of steps, and you move slowly enough that your neurology can keep track of what you're doing. So try that out. That's chord choreography, and let me know how it works. Leave me a comment in the comment section. And please feel welcome to subscribe to the channel. You get notifications when there's new content. I'm putting new content up all the time. And don't forget, there are Skype lessons available if you want to do a Skype lesson with me. So have fun. I hope you enjoy that, and I hope that it's helpful for you. I'll talk to you soon.